Good morning, good morning. It's Pause with Elizabeth Eleanor, and I'm here to share with you the 6 steps of how to create rapid results, right? Because here's the thing, I get so many times that people say to me, oh my gosh, you're so amazing at creating. And like all the time, I've even had my mentor's wife actually say, you're the most amazing creator I've ever seen. And when she said that, it was like, what the fuck? Like, I just see it as normal stuff, right? And so what I've done is I've actually broken down what I do to be able to create at such a high level, to be in the frequency. And that's one of the things, right? So there's 6 steps. So I want to, they're going to be sort of all over the place, because the very first one is about being present. Now, I know it's a bit boring, right? It's not the one that you think so. And actually, there's a few other steps that you need to do prior to being present, because you can't be present in today's society when we are being conditioned to drift, right? We're being conditioned to be distracted. We've got less focus than a freaking goldfish, apparently, right? More and more people are having less and less time to focus and be present. But it's really about raising your vibration so that you're actually at the same level as the creations that you want to be in, right? You need to know how to be in the same frequency as the things that you want to create, to really collapse time, to really, really connect in. And so one of the things, the very first one, you ready? Buckle up, we're just about to go for it. So one of the first things is to be present. Being present is all about, if you don't know what is your surroundings, what's going on around you, if you don't connect in with your higher self, if you're not aware of your feelings, if you're not actually here and in the moment and being aware of what's going on in your body and like connecting in and being able to track those things, like you might have a thought that lowers your vibration, like, where's that from? What's that doing? What's that doing in my body? Whose is it? Is it mine or is it somebody else's? If you haven't got that presence to be able to really tune in to where you are at, you can't see the signs for you to be able to follow. You haven't got the awareness. You've got to be self-aware. If you want to have really beautiful relationships, if you want to call in your amazing divine partner, then you've got to have the awareness of what's going on in your body and where you're picking these things up, because we have things that are actually inside of us that aren't necessarily ours. And that's, I'm jumping the gun, we've got more to go. But being present to your higher self, if you're not present to your higher self, if you don't know and you're not aware of and define the things that are in your environment, and you just sort of like breeze through them and they don't catch your attention, I call it an illumination point. I call it when something illuminates. I know this is in my Conscious Creator Circle. What we do is we talk about following the white rabbit. Following the white rabbit is all about those illumination points, those points where you can see there's something that illuminates that you've got to take notice of. And if you're not present to them, you're just numb and being distracted, and you're stuck in all of your stuff. All of the doubt and fear and like zoned out watching TV instead, thinking about the weather, blah, 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 and not actually acting on what you need to act on, right? So that's the first one. You really need to know how to be present in the moment so that you can catch those little bits that your higher self is actually pulling you towards. You've got to know what's happening right now, right? You've got to know what that feeling was in your body. Oh, that was something happened in my heart chakra. What was that? Was that me? Was that an old pattern? What is it? Is it something, like Tim actually gets shivers in his body. I very rarely get that. Mine is more of a knowing. Some people get, different body reactions. So, for those that are watching on right now, do you have those body reactions? Because a lot of people get those shivers, right? That's a response to something that's happening, and you take notice. Bang, bang, bang. Your higher self is going, we want you to notice this. We want you to notice this, right? So that's the first thing, is really being present to what's going on in your environment. You've got to be self-aware, right? So that's the first one. You've also got to know where you're going. And now all of the, being present happens after all of these things, right? But it's really the first one at the same time. So being present happens when you know where you're wanting to go. So if you're just in the moment all the time, being in the moment is what we're wanting to do, but we also need to be aware of where we're going. In Conscious Creator, we talk about true choices instead of coming from lack. Now, this is a little bit tricky, and this takes some people a long time to work out, because we can often be wanting something and be striving for something because there's this little thing in the back of our head from our childhood that, we're trying to still please dad, or we're still trying to get love and affection from our mum, or, we're still trying to prove that we're just as good as our brother or our sister or whatever it is, right? Or our next door neighbor. So we can have these end results, right? This desire of what we want to create, but actually unconsciously, it's actually coming from lack because we're trying to prove something or validate ourselves. When we're really connected and we've cleared all that gunk out of the way and we're just in our own being, a true choice, something that we're really wanting to create, comes from no reason whatsoever other than we just want to create it. I just want to create living at the beach, which is what I did, right? I want to be able to live in a beautiful environment. I want to have a spacious house. I want to, be in love with Tim, all of those things, just because I wanted them, not because I was proving to anyone, right? So when you can really unpack all of the stuff in the present moment, right, that might be going on in your body, that might be, blocking your chakras, might be old stuff from prior. When you can clear all that stuff, then you've got it's like a fine line. You can see the road ahead of you instead of it's like this, you're all over the place because you're really trying to justify your being and trying to validate who you are, right? Now that takes a lot of self-awareness to really tune in to what your true choice is compared to what you're, coming from lack, because, oh man, we've got so much stuff in us, right? Number three is you got to do some sort of present moment, exercise, meditation. You've got to connect into your higher self, because we live in our lower identity, in that little, mine's called, my identity is Elizabeth, but I'm more than Elizabeth. You're more than your name. So when you're in that space of, to connect, you've got to be able to get rid of all of the self-talk, all of the sabotage. I mean, we wake up with it, right? If you're someone that goes to bed after watching TV, and you don't give yourself that time, an hour or so before you actually drop in and go to sleep, then you're filled up with other information that's not yours. And then you wake up and bang, we start like, ding, 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 we've got to do this, we've got to do that, blah, 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 and all the self-doubt already starts, and it's so silent, we don't even freaking know that it's even happening, right? So meditation is a really good way of that. Now, I want to just really quickly talk about the difference between meditation and visualization. I've got a woman that I know who really define, like she's really, that's not meditation. This is meditation. This is visualization. So if you're meditating is just being present to your body and being self-aware, observing. There's no imagery. It's, connecting into your breath, potentially being aware of your frequency. It's really just being self-aware and observing what's happening right now. So the difference between meditation and visualization is that visualization is when you're maybe going on a guided journey, you're visualizing, and this is one of the things that I do every morning, and this is one of the reasons I get my results, right? Being able to, double my income, being able to live in the beautiful location right at the beach, being able to meet my beautiful partner, being able to get rid of a 4.5 centimeter brain tumor, the flow, being in flow is very, very different to being in a place of backwards and forwards, feeling stuck, or, swinging like a goddamn pendulum, because you're creating and then bang, something goes on and you're back in your old patterns of behavior again. And then that's what I'm creating. And then you're back again. So you want to be in the flow. And so to be in the flow is to be present. Now, meditation is a really, really good one to do. And starting with being present. Now, I'm going to, this might be a bit controversial to some people. There's a lot of different religions or movements or whatever out there that meditation is the Zen of spirituality, and you want to be in that place of being completely present all the time and blah, 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 right? And being the monk on the hill or whatever it is, right? That's sort of changed a little bit, but, there's some sort of altruistic, way of being that, like if I'm a meditator, I'm higher than thou and all that sort of crap. The thing about meditating and being in the present moment is really beautiful, but there's some stillness in there. Hear me out. There's some stillness in there that actually is creating a void. So if you're wanting to create, yes, you want to find the stillness because our head is, right, is chattering away, is carrying on, is in the background going, making assessments and judgments and, all of these things about what you're listening to, whether you're listening to me properly or not, and you've got this stuff going on in the background. All of those things. You might be even in the kitchen making yourself a cup of tea or something before work, half listening, right? Meditation is really good for that stillness. But actually the universe is in constant motion. The universe is actually wanting to create and expand. And the more we create, the more we're breathing out. We're creating this movement, this expansion. My hands are outside of the phone. And so it's beautiful to be able to find stillness, because if your body is not still, if your mind is not still, then you need to practice that, right? And especially at the moment with so much going on, so many distractions, all of those things, stillness is really important. However, the next part of creating is actually stepping in to what it is that you want to create. Feeling it now, being present to it, bringing it in, honoring that, seeing yourself, allowing your body to feel what it feels like in your nervous system to be the person, the woman that has, that beautiful relationship, the woman that has the job that she wants. I've got one of the women in Conscious Creator Circle, started in August. So she's only been in for 5 months, less than 5 months. And she was able to move to a location that she didn't know anyone. She's already created a beautiful, inspired tribe, spiritual tribe. connecting with the locals. She was saying to me the other day that she's now found her dream job, and she's been trying for 12 months in this particular sector, in the justice sector or something. It's been her dream for ages, and she's never been able to connect in with it. And, you know, it's been something that's been disappointing for her for 12 months. She's also been able to save money, and she's been pre-approved for a loan to buy her first investment house. And she's met this beautiful man, and she said, you know, like, let's just see, but he's just this beautiful man that's gentle and sweet and honoring and all these things. So, you know, 5 months, and she's got all of those things because she's already taking these steps. She's already moving into this place of learning how to do this. Now, the being able to connect in with your higher self, being able to choose what it is, being in the present moment, meditating, all of those things. The other thing, now you're not going to like this. This is the thing. This is the work, guys. This is the work. This is what you've got to do. You've got to look at what's getting in the way. Like, our higher self is like it's trying to smash us on the brain, right? Now, actually, that's not true. There's a couple of things. Our higher self, our, you know, spiritual being, that part of us that is connected to who we are, and we're in the process of becoming more and more of, our higher self and our guides and all that sort of stuff is very patient and very gentle and very sweet and just, you know, very allowing. But if you're on the wrong track, I got to tell you, you'll just get that little nudge. You'll get that, you know, hey, do this. Hey, do that. Hey, go and do this, right? And eventually it'll smack you in the face, and something will wrong, you know, bad, or some trauma will happen or whatever. And it's your higher self saying, we're talking to you, you're not listening, right? And so, why don't we listen? Why is it that you're not listening to your higher self? Why is it you're not tuning in? It's because we've got all of this BS, right? We've got all this stuff of why we shouldn't be doing it, why we need to be doing something else, why we, you know, let's get distracted and scroll on friggin' Facebook. Let's go and watch a TV show. Let's watch the news and find out what's going on the other side of the world. That, you know, I was watching something the other day. It was actually an Australian series. We watched the first episode. So every so often, you know, we watch Netflix or whatever. And so I was watching this TV show, and it's based in 1984 or something. And I was saying to Tim, it's really beautiful watching. I remember growing up, that was, you know, I was in high school in 1984, and we didn't know what was going on the other side of the world. It was still happening. We still had wars. We still had famines. We still had political disruptions. We still had all of that stuff. But we didn't know about it because we didn't have access to it on our mobile. We didn't have instant access so that we can tune into something that is creating a lower vibration for us. It's actually feeding that part of us that is in fear, that thinks that we're not good enough, that we're not perfect, all of the things, right? All of the things that come into our vibration that link in with our childhood stuff. Now, this is the thing. Not only does it link into all the crap that you dealt with when you were a child, and your parents were trying to work out how to raise you when they also had their own shit, right? Not only are you linking into that, but they're finding scientifically, they're finding that we've also got all these emotional patterns and memories and events from previous generations. Like, we've got our mother's crap, right? And how she was treated back in times when women were not valued and honored, and weren't allowed to vote and weren't allowed to keep their children and seen as second-class citizens. And oh my gosh, if you're a person of color, that's even another story, right? All of that's within our DNA, and we're still locked into that. Then we've got, on top of that, we've got our past lives. How many of us were burnt at the stake, ladies? How many people have got this cellular memory of not being able to speak your truth, not being able to connect in to what you desire, what you want to do, living in your magic, being able to express your truth, sharing your wisdom, all of those things. How can you do that when you've got these memories of being drowned or burnt at the stake or, murdered or dishonored in some friggin' way, right? As a male and a female, right? So we've got all of this stuff that's going on in our body. And so one of the reasons why I'm such a rapid results creator is, yes, I've found this amazing modality called recoding that's been able to friggin' collapse time, and oh my gosh, I've never experienced something so fast. But before that, I did 7 years, 7 intense years, every single weekend, literally, like Nelly every single, I think we had Christmas and all that off, but 7 years of every single weekend doing past life regression and pulling out, because, it's internal, it's in us now. So when you're doing a past life, you might be accessing information that feels like it's outside of yourself. It feels like it's something that's not you. However, it's actually still within your auric field and it's affecting you now. So I did 7 years of that, and, in that time frame was facilitating that, and then did more of that as I facilitated more, right? And so there was a lot of stripping, but that's a long freaking time to be doing that sort of work. When I found recoding, and honestly, I got some really good results in past life regression, right? I got some really good results. I remember one of my first regressions was being a bum in the street, was just about to kill myself because, no one would listen to me. I remember my shoes were dirty, my hair was a mess, it was all dready and yucky, and and I actually didn't believe in any of it at the time. I was brand new to it. I'd only just spiritually woken up. But I remember when we cleared that, going back to when I was a little boy in that life, and being able to speak my truth, and I was still in my infancy with being able to speak in my spiritual voice. And so I was just saying, we're all one, we need to love each other, blah, blah, blah. But they listened this time when we went back in. And so when I jumped forward in that, I then was able to, I was like, oh my gosh, my hair is short and clean. I could physically feel it in my auric field, in my body. I remember putting my hand on, it was the first time that I physically felt a shift from just traveling through the ethers and doing stuff in the realms, right? I was walking down the street. I had clean clothes on. I was walking down the street and people were admiring me, were recognizing me, were respecting me. And that was clearing an old pattern of not being heard and not being able to express myself because I didn't know how to language it, and I was too young, right? When I was doing all this stuff in past life regression, I was always the youngest in everything that I was doing. And so it's nice to be a little bit older and be validated for the wisdom. But I had the wisdom back then too. I just didn't know how to express it because of this past life. But, that was one past life. It was one moment, and it shifted. Doing recoding, oh my gosh, being able to go past lives, conditioning, definitions, labels, it's the things, the results that have been just being able to, squash it down, shift time, collapse it, and to be able to get results super fast. Hey, Caroline. Be able to do that so fast is the magic, right? And this is where we're going. All of that stuff is being able to clear those lower vibrations, right? Because if you're trying to find a beautiful partner, if you're looking for a soul aligned partner, divine partner, soulmate, whatever you want to language it as, right? You got to get rid of all your shit, right? Like if you're still angry at your ex, you're angry at your parents, or you're not being able to speak your truth, you're not being able to feel validated, you don't feel like you love yourself, how are you going to find someone that's going to do all those beautiful things for you? Like it's just, you're a dysfunctional match. Like you're in this alignment and you're wanting this over here. It's not going to match up, right? You've got to do the work to get in the space. You got to, I've got this, I pulled this the other day, this card, the Queen, and read the thing, knew what it was about, but I've left it here. I just looked at it. I've left it here in my office to remind me of that energy, of stepping up into the Queen energy, of stepping into the vibration of the match of what it is that I'm creating. So I'm using all my visuals at the same time to support me in what I want to create in my life, right? So that was number 4. Get rid of the BS. Get rid of all the definitions, all the worldviews, all the stuff that's holding you back from, unplug from the matrix, all of those things. If you can get rid of all that stuff, that's when you're going to be able to be more present, because we have so much going on in our head, so much mind chatter, that's why it's so hard to be present in the moment and to create, your true choices, because there's all this stuff that's not yours. There's different parts of you that, just complete transparency. I found a part of myself yesterday that I'd been holding on to for a while, right? And it was all about feeling responsible for you. And it comes back from being responsible as a kid. And when I was doing this, when I was in this, process, the part of me that was holding on to being responsible and feeling like, the burden of the whole world, like, oh my gosh, what we do to ourselves, hey, that part, as I went through it and I started to recognize it and clear it with recoding, we did a double bubble thing, which is another process. That part of me, that little girl, she said to me, oh my gosh, she said, who am I now? Like, I don't know who I am if I'm not responsible. And I didn't, I just acknowledged her, but I didn't interact. And I saw her physically go out of my body. And I was saying to Tim, I looked up and I smiled and I said, I love you. See you later. Let her clear out, because I've got to tell you, the freedom to be able to get rid of those things that we're, that are stuck in our body. Oh my gosh. That's when you can really release out of the matrix, right? Number 5, you're ready for it? Number 5, you've got to take some friggin' action. You've got to be aware of what's going on in your present reality. You've got to know what you want to create, and you've got to tune into your higher self. You've got to get rid of all the crap that's in the way, but then you've got to take the action. And this is what we do in Conscious Creator Circle, is called follow the white rabbit, right? Because we're Alice in Wonderland, right? We've been unplugged out of the matrix, and we're following the white rabbit. We're following the magic. And so when you get those illumination points, you get that illumination, when you know what you want to create, you take action on what your higher self is telling you to do, not what your identity is telling you to do, not that little part of you that's saying, No, let's scroll on Facebook instead, right? Reels or whatever it is, and be dumb and mindless. Take action on the steps that you're getting from your higher self. Listen to her guidance, because she knows what the future is. She knows your future self. She is outside of time, and she's the one that's going, hey, do this. So you've got to take action, right? You've got to take action so that you're stepping forward, you're moving, you're making momentum. By taking action, what you're doing is you're actually saying to your higher self, one, I trust you. Then she can trust you too, because she can see that you're listening to her guidance, right? So she's more likely to, you're building that relationship. So that's the other thing. But also, when you're listening to her, you're allowing your body, your nervous system, your spiritual energy, your auric field to know that it's safe to do this, because our body is always looking for safety, always looking for survival, right? And so the more you action those things and create that momentum, the more your body's going, oh, I'm still alive, I'm still here, I'm still doing the things, right? And this seems to be safe, so I'm going to come along and be part of it, right? You know, your unconscious starts coming to the party, and then you're connecting unconscious, your part now, your conscious that's wanting to create, and your higher self, so that all parts are in alignment, and that's when you're going to flow. That's how I've been able to create so fast, right? And it's not I say, I met my beautiful partner. I've, doubled, I think, tripled my income. I've health challenges, but I'm talking about the little things, like seeing that hair. If you guys haven't seen it, go into this Facebook group, into Awakening Wild Women, Choosing Conscious Relationships, right? That's where you're watching, by the way. And you'll see the other day, I was, putting something into, I was in the kitchen early in the morning instead of Tim. Usually he's making up our lemon water and the stuff that we, our concoction. Normally he's doing it, but this morning I was doing it, and I was putting stuff in a cupboard, and here was this hare, right? Not a rabbit, a friggin' huge hare in the middle of the road. We live right next to the beach. Hare, I've never seen a hare before, let alone at the beach, right? It stopped, it looked at me. We were there for a couple of minutes before Tim quietly came and took a photo of it, right? But as soon as it saw Tim, it was gone. But I had this moment with the hair. Do you think that is a coincidence, when I've just started with my Conscious Creator Circle talking about following the white rabbit? These are the things, ladies, right? These are the things. This is the magic that happens to me all the friggin' time. I don't even talk about it because it just happens so much, right? Ready? Number 6, last one. Once you've taken action, that action isn't always going to be perfect. It's not always. This is the work. This takes time to, if you're not used to talking to yourself, to having a relationship with your higher self, to really tuning into your intuition and your wisdom, if you're not used to that, because we're being taught and conditioned to listen to external sources, being influenced outside of ourselves, like listening to authorities, listening to, the powers that be, all of that thing. If you're not listening to your higher self, or you're not used to it, there's gonna be some wobbles, right? You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna have a little bit of conflict. You're gonna go, that didn't work. What our inner self, our identity, will say, well, that didn't work, I'm not good enough, I'm not going to try again. And then you go back. Do you really want to go back to last year? What results did you get? Can you, write down or tell me what results you got last year? Because I'm telling you, we can get triple that in less time. Judy, 12 months at least, was trying to get into the social justice sector. Her dream job. Couldn't do it. Came into Conscious Creator Circle, changed a whole heap of stuff, cleared the stuff out of the way, and got in. She said her whole, like, all her relationships are better, like, being able to, tens of thousands of dollars she's been able to save, you know, been pre-approved for an investment, met this beautiful man. Like, that usually takes, you know, a couple of years for most people, right? 5 months. She's one of the women that are getting those sort of results. We're getting results like that all the friggin' time. So you've got to, number 6 is reflect and refine. Take action, look at what happened, what sort of results you got. Keep going. Listen in, tune into your higher self. Ask her for guidance. Let her know that you want to build a relationship. Now that I've done that and I got this result, and it might not have been the result you wanted, right? Here's the result I've got. What can I do to support myself to get into this result? What is it that I can do? How do I become the person, right? So that's number 6. Keep going, make adjustments, or you're going to be on the same loop over and over and over again, because that's what our identity wants us to do. It wants us to Groundhog Day, because our identity, that's actually what it's designed for. It's actually connected into like software. If we got this result the first time and we survived it, then our unconscious is just going to say, you know, keep doing it this way because it's the way that it works. It's going to keep you in your comfort zone, you know. But hey, wild woman, it's all about raising our frequency, right? And I'm noticing from the people that are coming to me, from the people that, like, I had a woman reach out to me the other day through a networking community. I'm like, I thought that I sponsor this Women with Attitude, and I thought that she must have had a business. They got in contact with me and said, you know, such and such is trying to get in contact with you, or got in contact with her. She wanted to have a one-on-one in person. She's not a social media person. And when I found out that she's been trying to find me, I used to do MBS, Mind, Body, Spirit festivals, and I haven't done it for about a year. I haven't done the last 2. And she said she just kept searching online because she'd had migraines. And I did a 15-minute session with her at MBS, and she hasn't had migraines since. And so she had this heart thing happening where she was even getting tests to see if there was something wrong with her heart. And I won't, it involved aliens and stuff, so I won't go into it, but yeah, we cleared it, straight away, and she became a lot lighter. The heaviness in her heart had gone, more grounded, solid, more comfortable in your skin, right? So ladies, it's now time, and that's what I was saying to her, that's where I was going. It's like I'm actually seeing a lot more people waking up, women waking up, to really tuning in to the magic that they've got, coming back into feeling comfortable, being able to speak their truth, share their magic and their wisdom. All of the things are starting to really happen at the moment. So you don't want to be left behind, right? If you're still stuck in fear and worry and doubt, and you want this beautiful partner, but you're scared that you're not good enough, or that you haven't got the right body, or whatever the crap is that you're telling yourself, you know what to do, right? Conscious Creator Circle, get in contact with me. We'll set up a call and we'll talk about it, because it's time for everyone to start living the friggin' magic, that we've got access to. So, yeah, come and check out How to Live in Your Magic, because it's really cool being Alice in Wonderland. Take care.